Good Friday. I'm going to be flying solo. Sheets is with his son in Virginia. Hope they're having a good time out there. And we're going to talk through this baseball slate. If there's any basketball questions, I'll cover basketball afterwards. But I'm just going to, it's probably going to be a little bit of a quicker show. It's a pretty small baseball slate. I can talk through what I'm doing. I think there's really a lot of options of what to do as far as the slate goes. So let me stop sharing my screen share for 1 second here because I've got to move something around. And yeah, we'll get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with just doing position by position. That's really, I think I'm going to handle a lot of that this year. So I'm going to go through what I've got pitching wise right now. I'm still working on some things. So right now I have I had Peralta and Strider because I thought you could get people in. It's a little harder than I thought to get some other guys in. So I think I think Canning, I'm going to add to the core here. I like Canning probably the best outside of Strider just because of the value. I initially was planning to play I was initially planning to play Canning and Quintana, but I just feel like there's not enough upside. I'm a little bit worried about Quintana in this matchup. So I think I'm going to stick with this as being the main guys I'm using. But I actually think you could make a really good case for Nola over Freddie Peralta. And I think I'm going to end up with more Nola than Peralta. At least in my higher buy-ins. But I think that Peralta is just, I guess we have to kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. I do like Nola, though, for what it's worth. And again, other guys to mix in. I still have a little Quintana. And I do I really like Hunter Green in this matchup, but he's just high variance. So you just got to know what you're getting yourself into and decide if that's what you want to do. That's pretty much the way the pitching goes today. So ranking-wise, ownership for me is Canning, Strider, Nola Green Peralta, but I do think that Peralta is a little bit of a safer-ish play than Hunter Green, so I have him tagged here for that reason. What's up to my man MJ? Good to see you, buddy. And then going over to this is where things get it's really hard to pay down today. It's not we don't have the 2K guys that we like and like we did yesterday. I have Rio Muto tagged. I think he's a really strong play, but I have no issue if you wanted to make an argument for either Diaz or Sal Perez over him. I think that's sort of the main guys. Now, the guys I'm getting to some of where I don't have Hunter Green, Francisco Alvarez, I have just because I need the value, the savings. I have some Luke Maile and some little mini red stacks. But I'm mainly going to be stacking. I'll get into my stacks in a minute, but I'm mainly going to be using everything in my stacks, obviously, but I like Atlanta so much tonight, and I don't feel like they're getting the ownership that they should right now. And I really don't see a reason why not to like Atlanta today. I almost feel like there's something I'm missing why the ownership isn't catching up with Atlanta. I'm just going to go real quickly, take a look, for example, we don't have any Atlanta player projected above 10%. I think that might be a little bit low. Goldie's got him closer. A couple guys, a couple guys at just 10%. That's what I'm going to be doing today is Atlanta. Atlanta, I have it Atlanta. I like the low ownership of Texas or low-ish ownership of Texas. I like the Houston side of things. But I don't love the ownership, so I'm probably not getting very many Houston full stacks, maybe more on FanDuel where I can use a contrarian stack. And then Philadelphia is the obvious one that I still don't – I feel like I'm losing my mind. Why isn't the ownership higher on these guys? Is it just the pricing? Is that the issue? And if it is, are you going to have too many similar builds at all around 10% because you have to use Rojas? I guess that's what the issue is in trying to use Strider. But maybe this is a slate where we can argue on DraftKings at least to try to just be well overweight these Philly. I mean, that's too low. I think it'll be a lot higher on FanDuel. Let's just take a quick look over there and see what we're getting. I'll jump back into position by position, but I did want to touch on the stacks. All right, let's just see real quick. Philly over here. And still not getting as much crazy amount of ownership as I thought. So I'm going to probably have to reprioritize. Because I do think Atlanta, Philly is my favorite way to go. And I think that Houston, Texas, both sides of that game are the other favorites. Some of the value I'm getting to is going to be in the Cincinnati, New York Mets game. Some of it's going to be I'm going to end up with some Rojas just because he's 2,800 and we just don't have the value. I have some Miguel Sano just because I need the value if I'm going to stack Atlanta and Philadelphia and not try to concede completely with my pitching. So that's where I'm at. By the way, I think that you can use bats against Peralta. You can use bats against Nola if you're not using in different lineups. I think that's totally fine. I don't think you want to necessarily stack those guys, but like using Joey Gallo as a one-off or for Seattle, it's a better left-handed park. Maybe some Polanco at second base because it's a lousy position. I just think there's a lot of ways to go on the slate that I like that are off the chalk. As I mentioned, I have some Sano as a value play. Miguel Sano has been my most beneficial player in the history of my DFS, and that's a lot coming from years ago. But I had one baseball season that was just outrageous. No, two actually. I mean, two in a row, but like one with Sano was just like, I swear he was hitting like 2 home runs every time I played them. Anyway, but I like Sano anyway tonight just because the value. And again, I'm going to be playing these other guys. Jared Walsh for Texas, Joey Gallo I mentioned. That's sort of the guys you're looking at there. I hate second base so much as spend downs. And you see like the ownership that you're going to get some on Adam Frazier cheap. I don't mind. I'm going to have some of that too because I have to get my other stacks in. But Altuve, obviously a strong play. I don't love McNeil outside of stacks batting 7th here. It is a better ballpark, but like, come on. It just seems a little too high, but I guess it's just a pricing thing. I think I just rather take the extra discount and go to Adam Frazier myself. I do like Semien in those Texas stacks. And we will move over to third base. All right. Okay, so Bregman, you see Houston's really taken up the majority of the ownership in most of these spots. I'm going to have some Beatty just because he's batting 4th and he's 3K. It's amazing that that's happening, which also makes you realize you should probably be playing a lot of Hunter Green. Maybe even more than I am right now, which I have like 25% of them. I think I want to get a little higher. Alec Baum is my favorite third base play on the slate. I like getting up to Austin Riley at low ownership. You're going to see all my plays come in now because this is the positions I have them. I do like the Trey Turner at 6,100. It's a crazy price, but I do like it. I also like Corey Seager. And I also have, Pena in Houston stacks is fine, but I'm just a little worried about the Houston overall ownership. So I won't have the full stacks. I probably not be getting to Pena myself. As far as the outfield goes, you see again, Houston dominated the ownership, Rojas, and then you got the Mets guys for value. I'm using some of this. I'm using some of the Taylor play just because the value I needed. I'm using some of the Fairchild, which I don't even think are that bad at plays. And I think Duvall is a really, a solid one-off even. An okay one-off, better in stacks. I like the Atlanta stack, as I mentioned, so it'll be mostly Atlanta guys for me. And the Texas guys that I can fit in, I want to get to as well. I like the idea of getting to a little Jordan Alvarez as a one-off, but I don't know that I want to like fully. I don't know. I just know everybody's going to be on Houston, and I think there's other lineups that are really strong tonight as well. And we'll see. I mean, I get it. It's Cody Bradford, and it's sort of probably going to be a bullpen game. Yeah, I mean, ish. So bullpenish games are a little bit harder to get the huge outpouring that you sometimes want. So anyway, all right, moving over, I'm going to take a quick look at the chat. Nobody's got anything going. Anything you guys do want to add, just fire in questions. I posted my exposures for the members and where we're at. Off to a pretty good start this MLB season. Not been playing big until today, but I've done very well. Just pretty much winning every slate on every slate that I've played so far, except for one slate, and I've played most of the day and night. Anyway. All right, guys, any questions or thoughts? I'm going to jump over to basketball a little bit and just, talk through this slate. I'm not playing, in all honesty. I'm not doing that right now to myself. It's just crazy. I mean, you see the Cunningham thing the other night, and Malachi Flynn comes off the bench for 50. I mean, the whole thing is just nuts. This kind of a slate, I just as soon not play it. I will run a simulation so we can sort of see where everything's at. You see the insane amount of value. It's just so absurd. And look, all of them are getting some looks because it's all speculative. So you have to look at who am I spending up on. It's pretty interesting that Wembanyama they have as the highest play, highest just raw points. Huh. Interesting. Kyrie makes a lot of sense, obviously. without Luka. Yeah, so those would be it. If you wanted a different one, I don't mind the Sabonis idea, but I think it might be a little bit reachy. And I think De'Aaron Fox might be the one I would go with instead of Sabonis. I know it's a tough matchup, but I expect one of those guys to have a decent game here if the game stays close. And I think I'll take that shot. I also always like Jalen Brunson. I know it's a tough matchup also, but I think that's just a strong guy to take a shot on, as I do about Tyrese Halliburton as well. All that range feels very much like just like last night, a good way to get different. So favorite stack type today. Good question by MJ. The prob. So I want a 5-man stack Atlanta, but because of the pricing, it's actually tricky to do. So I will probably have some 4-4s and 4-3-1s, 4-2-2s, things like that. Potentially a 4-2-1-1-1. But mostly I'm trying to get to the 5-mans of Atlanta because when I really like a lineup, I'm going to try and go for the 5. I love Atlanta today, so I'm going to go for the 5 there. I also love Philadelphia. I feel like I want to play even more guys than I can. So both of those I'm mostly going 5-4. I think with Texas, I don't mind going 4. With Houston, I wouldn't mind going 4 to be different. I didn't get to any of the Royals. I know they're going to have some ownership. I mean, I have some Melendez as a one-off. I have some Frazier, as I mentioned. I'm just not like in love with that game. I'm just taking a quick look at the weather too to see what the update is. You still have the weather blowing out to center and 47-degree weather in Cincinnati, side to side in the Washington-Philly game, but it is cold, 47 degrees. Wow, this Philadelphia total has dropped a lot more than I realized at first. Okay, yeah, 4.6. They're giving some credit to the weather. I think that maybe I'll boost up NOLA a little bit to go with Hunter Green. And you've got the wind blowing in Kansas City, in from right at 10 miles an hour, probably okay to play the righties. I do like Brady Singer for what it's worth. I didn't mention him, but I'm going to get like 15-20% of him. I'm not going to end up with 50% or something, but I do like him as another interesting play tonight. I actually think Logan Gilbert's an interesting play too, but I just didn't get there. And Hunter Brown. There's a lot of things that are interesting. Like I like Texas, but I also think wouldn't be surprised if we saw a strong Hunter Brown outing coming soon. And I think that Boston is an interesting contrarian stack late. Even though I like Canning, like I don't think that's the way I feel about these other games that go either way. That's why I'm going to be so heavily probably by the end of it, just on Philadelphia and Atlanta and Texas, because I really feel like I can make a good case on both sides in pretty much every game, except for I don't want to take anybody against Strider. That's the only thing that I'm not doing today. But crazier things have happened. You got the Royals answer. I get it. Like again, it's not. I don't. The lefties are going to be hitting into that wind. It's 61 degrees at least. It's probably okay for the righties. Like I think it's fine. Like the Royals are fine. I personally, my job isn't to try to find the most stacks. It's to try to get the best exposure, the most exposure, the ones I feel are the best. All right. Anything else coming in? It looks like that's pretty much it. I'll run a build real quick for NBA because I really just. Like I said, I like that one thing I mentioned about a way of differentiating. And I think that those are really good differentiators. We're going to try and build just one lineup, and we're going to pretend it was a big buy-in, not small field, but smaller field. All right. And let's do it. It should be, let's do the alley-oop. Okay. So save settings. So this is going to be a little bit more chalky, probably. We'll just do this. 5-3. Oops. 5-3. 5-3. Look, God, why is it? There we go. All right. Let's see what it gives us. And I know, it's not as much fun. These live shows for MLB during the day, they go well. Like I noticed, we had some people are into the early looks, but there's really not a whole lot to add like before lock. And there may be a day that comes up where we plan to do shows every day, but if you're not getting a live thing, it's not going to change all that much from morning to evening with MLB like it does with NBA. But I am excited to start playing again in the NBA playoffs. I've always done extremely well in the NBA playoffs. I think it's my strongest time, just because you could sort of figure out different coaching patterns and guys who might get minutes, and you hear a lot of speculation. And I've made a lot of money doing that. So I am really excited about the NBA playoffs, but not super pumped about the rest of the NBA regular season myself. All right, and Maverick McNeely, go F yourself. I think I said this yesterday though about Jordan Spieth, and then he hit a hole in one and then went on a tear right afterwards. So maybe I'm wrong about Maverick. Maybe he's done something. No, he's back to +2. Let's see whether he's going to make it, and we'll see what lineup we got. Okay, so we've got. This is what I mean. See all the chalk? Like, I don't want to play everybody at 24% and just hope it works out. That's just, I don't know. I would say instead of maybe Lillard, maybe switch over to one of those 9K guys that I mentioned and do something different in that way. That would be at least something I can get on board with if I was going to do this. I thought I did. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. Cut line is looking more like even. Come on, man, do something. This is ridiculous. I wasn't expecting to sweat him today. Jeez. Did he get? Let's see. They've got him as 3 back on Data Golf and 2 back on DraftKings, but I don't know which is more up to date. Sorry, guys. I'm doing a little selfish look because we didn't have any comments going on right now. He's got the 1 par 5. He just parred the par 5. Ugh. Come on, Maverick. No, I think he actually birdied the par 5 and they just got it wrong. Anyway, all right. So you see what we got with the thing. Let's see what they put in there. Yeah, you see these ownerships are pretty absurd. So I would try to add one of the other 9K guys as a pivot off of Lillard. That would be my get different take. I think that, Milwaukee is going to win that game by like 50 points. I'm not kidding you. Toronto, it's brutal, man. Like, I understand that they're probably like going to be some, I don't know what to say. It's really awful. If they play everybody, if everybody plays, but even still, I think they get smoked. Although Milwaukee has been like the worst team against the spread in the NBA this season. So anyway, there you have it. I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. Good luck to everybody tonight. Let's crush it. Let's see some wins in there. We got what did we get? Brandman won the showdown or finished second in the showdown thing yesterday. Sheets just had a nice day and the afternoon baseball. We want to see some screenshots from you guys tonight and some baseball wins.